This podcast is for women who are already established, women who know they're capable, but can feel the gap between who they truly are and how they've been operating. This is a show about power, identity, and the exact shifts that elevate how you lead, decide, and sell without performing or chasing or molding. I'm Dr. Sonja Adzovic. This is I Have a Story for You.
I hate good girls, and I was one for 97% of my life. Yes, that's an exact number. So there was this dinner party that I was having at my parents' house, and it was actually their dinner party. It was, over 20 people. It was huge. I was, quite young, in my teens, and it was a very specific and very defining moment. We had all gathered, the dinner was set. It was a very elegant dinner. Everybody was dressed in their evening best. The entrees were coming. It was 1, 2, and we were all gathered at the table. And one of the guests started saying very provocative things. We were all young, maybe he was around 20, I was maybe, 17. Oh no, you know what? I was in university as well. Yes, I was in university as well. He was in university, and we got into this whole thing about, what are the top ranking universities in the world? Doesn't matter. There's a McLean's list, nothing to prove. Everybody goes to different universities. Who cares? It literally doesn't matter. But apparently he did. So he started being very provocative and kind of pokey and kind of judgmental, and started saying that, the university he went to was absolutely, the best and everything. And, it was at this day and age, it's kind of like, I don't even care. It's fine, whatever. But at that point, I was very confused because, according to the McLean's ranking, it was very obvious, what are the top ranking universities, and, University of Toronto ranked much, much higher than the one he was at. But the way he was doing it, I didn't recognize at the time, was just to provoke a reaction. Anyway, I stood up for myself. I started, saying, no, this is not the case. This is, whatever. Here's the McLean's ranking and everything. And at that moment, I was taken aside into the kitchen and told, you're acting inappropriately. He is a guest in our house. You can't say stuff like that. You have to be quiet. You are embarrassing us. You're embarrassing everybody. Everybody at the table feels uncomfortable. You need to stop talking. And I did, because that's what I was told to do. That is how good girls behaved. They don't make other people uncomfortable. They are quiet, no matter what. And this was a narrative I carried through my whole life. I was the perpetual good girl. I made sure that I never made anybody uncomfortable around me. If it happened, I apologized. And I went pretty far. I finished, medical school, got into corporate, and I carried this good girl persona with me quite unknowingly. And I had no idea that the good girl is killing your ambition. The good girl was killing my ambition. You see, the problem with the good girl narrative isn't, the fact that she doesn't speak up just because she doesn't speak up. The problem with the good girl narrative is that every time you decide to stay quiet, every time you decide to enter into your good girl, you are betraying yourself, because you are signaling that everyone is more important than you. Everyone is more important than you. It doesn't matter, right, what you have to say. It doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter that you know better. It doesn't matter that that was stupid, what they said. It doesn't matter, that you have a more education or knowledge on this topic. It doesn't matter. That is the good girl narrative. It is your responsibility to make sure to put yourself last and everybody ahead of yourself. Okay? Now think about that. That means that every time you are going to betray a part of yourself that knows better, or that doesn't know better but just wants to speak, right? And think about what this does on a leadership role, on a business level. How far can we go if we are constantly, subconsciously, because we've entered into this good girl, saying, no, they know better than me. No, that person knows better than me. He knows better than me. She knows better than me. He knows better than me because he's a he. She knows better than me because she's a higher up. She knows better than me because she's had more years in business. He knows better than me because he's been a speaker for longer. Right? All of those things. So everybody's better than you. Or it could go even worse. Hey, we started at the same time, but for some reason, she knows better than me. He knows better than me. They know better than me for absolutely no reason. They are better than me, right? We are not on equal footing. And that is a problem with the good girl, where you automatically put yourself lower than everyone. You are not on equal footing. You are not an equal member, right? And subconsciously, this will hold us back. And where does this come from, right? You didn't choose into this narrative yourself. You didn't wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to be a good girl. Nobody did. Nobody wakes up thinking, I'm going to put myself last on the food chain or in society. Nobody does that. The good girl was born especially from a certain type of parenting. So we see the good girl in every area of society. We see the good girl in every culture around the world. And it has a lot to do with the way that women are still regarded, that it is not on equal footing yet. We are not on equal footing yet. So especially if you have, as I did, immigrant parents, or even any sort of parents really, but especially coming from immigrant parents, right? You're very much from a very early age taught what it means to be good. Now, it's very different rules for boys and girls growing up. And for girls, we are taught that to be good girls means to be quiet, to listen, right? We are taught to get good grades. We are not taught to question the teacher, right? We are taught everything the teacher says, everything an adult says, that is gospel. So with this comes the good girl. Now, why do we adapt into it, right? If somebody tried to force me into the good girl now, I wouldn't care. Like, no, I'm not doing that. That's stupid. So why did we adopt it when we were growing up? Well, because at that point, you don't have a choice. You don't have any other options. You don't have any other way of being. And I'm seeing it less so with newer generations, with Gen Z, with Gen Alpha. But if we think about how it was with millennials, right? We didn't have access to the internet or social media, and TikTok and Snapchat and all these things that these generations now have. So our source of knowledge, our source of information was our parents, our teachers, our older community members, our church, right? Those are whatever religion you had. Those were the knowledge base that we have about how we are supposed to behave. And so we emulate that, right? If we see people acting a certain way, we're like, oh, okay, that's the way we need to act. But much more than this, when you are very young, you need your parents to survive. And we know this. As soon as we are born, we know that our survival depends on someone else, right? We know that to get love, it is conditional on certain things. And so to gain this love, to have the survival, we need to adapt in whatever program that is in our family, that is in our community. We literally feel the need to become whoever they need us to become so that we are part of this community, so that we are loved, so that we are not abandoned. That's where it all comes from. That is where the good girl came from. Now it goes on and you grow up, but that's programmed from early on that we didn't have a choice about is still running. And there comes a moment, right, when we have to decide, is this serving me or not? And it is not. The good girl is never going to serve you long term. It can serve you in corporate, it can serve you in the beginning of your business, it can serve you in the early parts of your leadership. But when you want to get to the high levels, when you want to achieve great, extraordinary things and have an extraordinary impact, the good girl will cut you off at your knees. There's no way you are going to reach the top levels by thinking, hey, who is this going to upset? Hey, did somebody misunderstand what I was saying? Hey, did I hurt that person's feelings? Hey, did I do this right? Hey, maybe they know better. No, you know better. No, you know the best because you are insanely knowledgeable in your field, right? Of course, you're going to be accepting knowledge and thinking and absorbing information. Absolutely, that stands. Obviously, you're going to do that. But there's a difference between, hey, let me know what you think about this. Hey, share with me your knowledge. And hey, you tell me what is best for me to do. Hey, I'm going to defer my power to you. No, you are your power. You take that power back. It is when you embrace that you move forward. So this played out a lot in my business. I mean, obviously it played out in med school and corporate because those are those system structures that taught the good girl. So it was almost beneficial to be the good girl in those environments because those are these systems that almost encouraged the good girl. And because I didn't go very high up, even if I had gone really high up or had wanted to climb the corporate ladder, the medicine area, I would have reached that point too, and the good girl was not serving me any longer. But because I didn't do that, it was beneficial to a certain sense. And so when I started my business, the good girl really played in that I deferred my power to everyone else, to every single coach. Hey, you tell me what is best to do. You tell me what is best for my business. And so deferring that power took away from mine because there are certain things that I knew that I was doing in my business that felt off, that felt this isn't right for me, this isn't the best for me, even though those strategies worked. But I did them. And the good girl follows the instructions. She's a good student. I would show up with my little notebook in hand and follow everything that they said, right? That is not going to get you very far. There's a moment where you have to take back your power and be thinking, hey, how am I going to move forward in a way that works for me? Not for anybody else, for me. What are my advantages? What are my skills? What do I bring to the table that nobody else can bring to the table as well as I can? Let's amplify that. And of course, other people aren't going to share that because they don't have the knowledge, the skills, the nuances that you have. I didn't know this in the beginning. So I followed everybody else's instructions. I over-explained everything. My content made sure that I never offended anyone. I would explain every little detail. If I said, the good girl is killing your ambition. Unless it's this, unless it's that, unless you're doing this, but even then it could work. It's not your fault. It's okay. Here's how to deal with it. Here's how to do it. I'm not doing that anymore, right? No explaining, no complaining. We're done, right? And that is your advantage. It frees up a lot of time. Who knows what you're talking about will understand. Who doesn't understand, that's not the place for them. They can move on and find somebody else who, is going to have people pander to them. And that's fine. But that's just because they're in their good girl era. And that's fine. Doesn't matter. We're over here doing something else. So that whole over-explaining is a big part of what I was doing so that nobody misunderstands, so that nobody is offended. Nobody has time for that. We're moving fast. You can't keep looking back and looking, hey, look at all these people over here who don't know what I'm talking about. I need to explain it to them so that everybody understands. And by explaining to them, I'm going to also hope that all these people who are moving forward also get it. Well, no, it doesn't work like that. You pick a direction. You can't go in all directions, right? So at the end of the day, letting go of the good girl isn't just about letting go of an old identity. It's about reclaiming your sovereignty, your wisdom, your power, reclaiming your power, because you are incredibly wise. You are incredibly smart. You were placed here to do extraordinary things. And those extraordinary things, those leadership roles, however they look like, that impact that you're going to make, that wealth generation you're going to have, isn't going to happen from the good girl era, from pandering to everybody else, to making sure that nobody's feelings are hurt accidentally, right? We are not here to be mean people. We are not here to hurt people's feelings on purpose. But people can't go through life expecting never to have their feelings hurt. That is not how the world works. We all have our triggers. We all have things we're dealing with. We will have our feelings hurt. You move on. Okay, you figure it out, right? So when you let go of this good girl era, you're taking back your power and you're moving forward. And you're not just moving forward, you are unconsciously bringing people forward with you. Especially, it's about remembering that as a woman, you are incredibly powerful. You have the ability to do things that other people on this earth cannot, that men cannot do. You have an incredible power of multitasking that they just cannot do. You have the power to see things that they just can't. They have other skills. That is great. Whatever. Who cares? We're talking about you. You have so much power. You have so much skill. You have so much wisdom in you. You are literally a different person every day because of your cycle. And every day brings certain advantages, and you use them. And you use those advantages to move you forward. Because here's the thing, you're an adult boss. You are an adult leader right now. You are not the 8-year-old self in all situations of life, and especially in your business, right? The good girl era needs to end. The good girl needs to die so that you can rise.
On the next episode of I Have a Story for You,
we're talking about a deeper level of no, one that's actually more important, one that actually has a greater effect on everything that you do. This translates into leadership roles. When you've repeatedly subconsciously told yourself, I am not important enough to make the right decision for myself, that comes off. That comes off in your magnetism, in the way that you show up. People can feel that. They don't know what they're feeling, but they can feel it.